Hey, sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes. I wanted to jump on real quick and do a recap of the Texas Longhorns' victory yesterday over UTSA 56-7. It was a very, very, very good showing by the Texas Longhorns yesterday. 614 yards in total offense, 427 yards passing, and 187 yards rushing. It was a great performance. Quinn Ewers started the game before he went out with a strained abdomen. He was 14 for 16 for 185 yards and two touchdowns. He was clicking before he went out with that strained abdomen. He also hurt his thumb on a touchdown throw to Isaiah Bond, where his thumb hit up against a rushing lineman's arm and it sort of jammed his thumb. That's probably what caused that one interception that he did have in the game on an overthrow. Plus, he didn't have his feet set like he normally would have. So he threw that interception with that bad thumb. And he threw a nice ball to Gunnar Helm to the sideline on a sideline route about 25 yards down the field when he strained his abdomen. He played another play after that, but then he had to go ahead and sit out the rest of the game for precautionary reasons mainly, I think. He probably could have went out there and toughed it out. Like Joey Galloway said back in the days, they would have just gave you one of those shots and you went back out there and dealt with the pain. But in this new day and age of football, they care a little bit more about their football players. So they didn't want to send him out there, especially since they knew they had a capable backup in Ark Manning, who went out and went 9 for 12, 223 yards, four touchdowns. He also had one rushing touchdown for 67 yards. He finished the game rushing with 53 yards on three carries, which shows his athleticism, which he's way more athletic than his uncles, Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. But he is athletic like his grandpa, Archie Manning. So anyway, it was a great showing by the Texas Longhorns. They had two wide receivers who had over 100 yards receiving. Freshman Ryan Wingo had three receptions for 127 yards and a touchdown. And Isaiah Bond, a transfer from Alabama, had five catches for 103 yards and two touchdowns in the game. He is very, very fast, very fast. We were talking about some of the freshman wide receivers who are showing out in college football, and Ryan Williams for Alabama and Jeremiah Smith for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But I believe we will be seeing more out of Ryan Wingo for Texas if Texas didn't have the wide receiver room that they have. They are very, very deep at the wide receiver position. So Ryan Wingo just doesn't get as much time as he would had we not had the wide receiver room like we do. But he's still making great plays. You've seen a great play that he made against Michigan on that reverse where he went 55 yards and took the ball inside Michigan's 5 yard line. He showed his speed, and Will Johnson ended up getting him at an angle and catching him before he got in the end zone. But he is very talented, and he had, I think, three receptions for 70 something yards in our first game. So Ryan Wingo is going to be one of those wide receivers that teams are going to have to account for in the future. We also had a running back, Jared Gibson, which we had a lot of issues in our running back room. Of course, Jalen Blue didn't play. He had an ankle sprain, so we sat him out of this game. But then we went with Quintravius Wisner. He went out there and he balled a little bit in the beginning, but he also suffered an ankle sprain as well. So we ended up sitting him and letting Jared Gibson, the freshman, true freshman, get most of the reps. And he had 12 carries for 75 yards in that game. They call him the baby rhino because he is a very aggressive runner of the football. And he makes contact with those defensive players and he keeps on moving forward. So that's a good running back to have. When you have speed backs, you got to have a bruiser that can get you those short yardage gains. And Jarek Gibson is the guy who does it for the Texas Longhorns. So great game by him as well. We also got two touchdowns from Jonte Cook, wide receiver, and we got DeAndre Moore finally got his first receiving touchdown of the season as well. His one that he got against Michigan got called back because of holding, so it was good to see DeAndre Moore get on the board with a touchdown in this game. Texas's defense has held all three of their opponents to less than 300 yards in a game total offense, which is amazing to be able to go out there and hold college football teams to under 300 yards total offense. Now, of course, they played Colorado State and they played UTSA, two teams that you don't expect to get a whole lot of yards on a team like Texas, and they were able to hold them under 300 yards. And they also held Michigan, I believe, under 300 yards as well, which shows that they have a very, very talented defense. They are able to go 2 and 3 deep at just about every position on the football field, which is key in today's college game if you're going to make a run in the 12-team playoff, because you know you got to be able to play as many players as possible. Just like you saw with Quinn Ewers going out of the game, you got to have a capable backup. Your second string has to go in there and lead your team whenever your starter goes out. And I'm hoping that the fact that Quinn Ewers has been hurt in each of his 3 seasons at Texas, he's missed time. I'm hoping that does not reflect on his NFL draft status. The guy can really spin that football. He probably is going to have to work on some of his health issues, being able to build his body up to be a little bit stronger. I know that was a knock on Jordan Whittington when he was at Texas, because his first couple of seasons he stayed injury prone. And what Jordan Whittington ended up doing was he started working on his body. He cut out certain things out of his diet. He worked out a lot more than he normally would. He just was making sure he was staying physically strong. And that's what Quinn Ewers is going to have to do as well. Even though he has made some changes from each season that he's been at Texas, he's really going to have to build his body up. Because when you look at him, he doesn't look like a strong, powerful guy, but his arm strength is ridiculous. He can really spin that football. So hopefully that doesn't affect his draft status, and he'll be able to, still be a high draft pick. Hopefully it doesn't affect his Heisman Trophy chances as well, because he was the front runner for the Heisman Trophy after the Michigan game. I don't believe he did anything in this game to hurt his his Heisman Trophy status, but you just never know, because Cam Ward is balling out at Miami, and then you got two guys at Colorado that are balling out in Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. For Travis Hunter to be able to do what he's doing out there for Colorado is amazing. A guy can go out there and play over 100 snaps, playing offense and defense. Takes a lot of mental toughness and a lot of physical toughness to be able to do that and to be in some fantastic shape, which he's been doing it for 2 seasons. Well, no, he's been doing it since he's been in college football for 4 years. So hopefully Quinn Ewers can still stay in that Heisman race. And if he's out for the next couple of games, which I would believe Texas will hold him out against Louisiana Monroe and probably Mississippi State, bringing back during the bye week, getting ready for Oklahoma after that. So I would imagine they're going to hold him out for these next 2 games. But you never know. He might be ready to go against Mississippi State. So also Texas got a pick six from Ethan Burke, the defensive end. The ball bounced off of the lineman's back. He scooped it up out of the air and ran it back for 30 yards for a pick six to seal the game 56-7, which was a great showing by Texas. They let one run leak, and they was able to get a long touchdown run for UTSA. David Bender just missed his assignment and didn't get in that gap. And that young man hit that gap, and man, he was gone. He showed great speed and acceleration, and it was good to see him have a bright spot in that game. And UTSA actually rushed for over 130 yards in that game, and I think they passed for another 128 or something around there because they finished with 260 yards total offense. But altogether, it was a great showing by the Texas Longhorns. Hopefully, they can go ahead and get these next two wins and get ready for Oklahoma and Georgia because that's going to be a 2-week stretch that's going to be really, really tough for the Texas Longhorns. Speaking of Georgia, they struggled against Kentucky, but Kentucky, even though they got beat down by South Carolina, is a really good team. Um, they're not great, but they're good. And they were able to hold Georgia to 13 points. Which brings me to a thought of, will the AP poll, put Texas at number one, seeing that um, Georgia struggled against Kentucky and Texas has been rolling. They moved Texas from four, no, from 3 to 2, and leaping Ohio State in the AP poll. Will they do that again this week and leap Texas past Georgia? Now, believe me, we do not want to be the number one ranked team in the country. You don't want, I mean, you probably do want the target on your back, but so you can go out there and compete every week. But at the same time, you don't want to hear all that noise. People reading you that, giving you that rat poison, as Nick Saban says, praising you, saying how great you are. And then you get to believe in that mess and you go out there and stumble against somebody that you should blow out. Much like Georgia did yesterday, they just didn't get up for Kentucky. And Kentucky came and played hard and wanted to show that, listen, we're not as bad as that loss we took to South Carolina. So we'll see if Texas gets put in the number one spot um, when the polls come out later on tonight, and we'll see if they move Ohio State to back to number two ahead of Georgia, even though Ohio State didn't play; they had a bye week. So I just wanted to jump on real quick and share those things about the Texas Longhorns. Hopefully, we can get Quinn Ewers back in the next couple of weeks. We're at a good spot in our season where we can rest him. So hopefully, we'll do that and get him back 100% and get those running backs back 100% because that running back room has really been depleted when you lose your starting running back, your not running back one, well, 1 and 1A, in Jalen Blue and Cedric Baxter. And then you get your third string running back or your third running back. He goes down with an ankle sprain as well. He could have played and finished out that game, but there was no need to put him back out there. So the freshman Jared Gibson got a lot of run. We actually had 9 different offensive players run the football yesterday. That's amazing. They had 9 guys rush the ball. That's really amazing. And we had at least 11 different receivers catch the football. That's amazing too. That shows the depth that Texas has at the offensive positions and at the defensive positions because they play so many players early in the football game too. They don't wait until the fourth quarter to get guys some burn out there, to get the guys some experience. They do it early in the ball games, which I'm glad about that because you got to be strong 2 and 3 deep in this age of college football. So I'm glad that I was able to get on and do a video this morning recapping Texas 56-7 win yesterday over UTSA. So we're going to get ready for NFL football. We're going to do a show here at 11 o'clock here in a little bit. So if you get a chance to jump on and talk to us in the chat, share your thoughts and opinions, please do so at 11 o'clock here at WTP Sports Dudes. Without anything else to be said, hook 'em.